hello. I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with Lisa, not Tank.
I'm just faking it today for Tank.
There's
Sorry, Dan, you're stuck
Well-
with me until he jumps on.
Well, as it says in that intro, sometimes Lisa.
Right. I haven't got to see that much. I haven't been on the show yet when that's playing, but yeah. So,
Well,
what's going on with you?
Well, I just want to welcome everyone to WWGA. I messed it up. All right. WWG1 WGA.love.
Yes.
Front lines. We're here fighting the cabal, the deep state, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that want to enslave all of humanity for their own selves.
Yeah, I'm over it, Dan. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of done being a slave. I'm done.
I've been done since I was born.
Me too. Do you feel like you were born a rebel? Because I do.
I've never stopped. My whole life, I cannot remember a time when I wasn't. I was a very precocious young man. My friends were all adults. Even at 5 years old, I'm talking with people. I was running a candy store when I was in kindergarten out of my desk.
You're kidding?
Nah.
Wow, that is pretty young. I started business in high school, but 5's pretty young. Wow.
4.
4. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Well, just to give people an update, I don't know. Tank, I think, is in a phone call running behind schedule, and so he could be like having some whistleblower phone call or God knows what. And so he just said, "Can you please fill in so I can get there?" So, unfortunately, you're stuck with me until he can jump on.
Yeah,
so,
I know it's really horrible. I don't know why you do. I don't know why you do this to us, but all right.
I know. I'm sorry. I was actually reading. You guys were talking a few days ago, and I didn't jump on because I loved listening to you guys talk about love and fear. So I was actually in your posts, like posting a few with the people. But you actually have really nice people. I was just telling Tank this morning. We did a show, and we did it specifically for vaccines. What's going on with New York, and it was very specific, but. I said, Tank, tomorrow can we do a fun show? And we just do a show on like going through all of the comments on our Facebook and our YouTube. And then Dan, there's like really nice people on there and comments and questions. And so now we have enough to do, I think, the whole show on.
Yeah, I think so. Right now. I'm going to see if I can pull up some of the articles that you're sending me. So
excuse me, I sent you a couple.
I'm a little distracted.
I can send you a couple articles on fear and love. I have those too. I have every article you could ever want. That I am prepared with.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like. See, that's the thing. I have to make new screens. I literally have to prepare the screen and then show it. It's a little bit odd the way I have to do things here, but
okay.
It's okay.
I'm lucky that I can just log into Zoom and talk. I mean, if I had to be anything more, it would overwhelm me, I think.
I get it.
He handles all that stuff.
I get it. Oh, no, believe me, I get it. I used to have the Zoom set up that way too. It was much easier. All right, I think I got it now. All right, so I'm set now. So we're now on Pacific Pundit with this first article you sent.
Okay.
So IG report on corrupt James Comey conduct could be released tomorrow. Yes, this is August 28th, 2019. So
yeah, we're still where I am. It's still 6:46 p.m. on the 28th, but where you are, it's already. So it's saying Thursday or Friday, which.
Yeah, it's the 29th for me. I'm just a little ahead of time here. I'm not quite in the beginning of time as Tui and Fiji, but good enough. So,
how far away? What time zone? How many hours are you from Tui's time?
If I got on an airplane, I think it'd probably be 4 or 5 hours, I would guess, and I would be heading east.
Okay.
All right. So if I it's actually southeast, almost like a direct diagonal. If I went straight down, I'd hit Australia, right?
Oh, okay. But you're in a different time zone than him, obviously, if he's getting there before you are.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 hours difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Something like it. No, 4 hours. It's 4 hours difference. That's right. It's 4 hours difference.
Oh
So
my gosh, we're all in different time zones. You, me, Tank, and Tui. We're all in different time zones.
yeah, yeah. So if I headed directly southeast, I would first hit Papua New Guinea.
You know, I've heard some interesting things about Papua New Guinea. I don't know if they're interesting. I heard this years and years and years ago that this may or may not be true. Have you been there?
I have not been to Papua New Guinea. I do work with a bunch of people in Papua New Guinea.
Okay, it's pretty remote, right? And I mean, it's a pretty remote island. They're not very
Right.
advanced, right? Yeah.
And then well, it's a big area. It's not small. It's the size of the Philippines, really. Actually, with a bigger land mass. It's like a overall geographical area about the same as the Philippines, but Philippines is more broken up into more islands, and Papua New Guinea is less islands, bigger masses. So it's actually fairly large. And then if you kept heading southeast from there, you would then end up in Fiji. If you went south, I think, or is it north? You'd hit New Zealand.
Okay. Wow. All right.
So this is really at the end of the world, right? after there, you're really, Fiji is a small island, and you get all other little dots of islands out toward, through Tahiti and Solomon Islands and Marshall Islands and Micronesia.
Wow, you are out there. Yeah, that is a ways out there for all those islands. Okay.
All heading east until you get to Hawaii, and that's halfway.
Now there I've been to Hawaii.
And that's halfway across the ocean, right? But that's all heading northeast at that point, heading up towards the North American area. But
it would be all water for you if you were. So let's put it this way: when Tui has us over to Fiji, you'll be the first one there.
Yeah.
You'll be the closest.
That's why I keep joking with Tank. Now he'll say, "Well, I just won't send any money until then." And I was like, "It's all right. I'm going to swim."
Yeah, I would put my kayak in the water and just go for it. See where I end up.
Yeah.
But it would be stink to drown just about then, right after the money comes in, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be very fun.
No, that's not going to happen. Wipe those words from your mouth.
I know.
Yeah, I'm going to get soap and wash your mouth out with
all right,
that
all right,
dirty, those dirty words
those
you're
awful
speaking.
thoughts of mine, words. Yes, agreed. So I also heard today that all the FISA reports are illegal, in addition to this whole Comey thing. So what does that mean? That
what do you mean? What do you mean by illegal? We mean all are illegal. Are you talking from the standpoint of the Patriot Act and the setting up of the FISA court is illegal in general, or do you mean,
that they were all created on an illegal basis?
That's true. Yes, they're all of them are corrupt based upon the Steele dossier, which is really just a bunch of CNN. A CNN website. Forgot the name of it. It's not called CNN, but CNN owns it, and it was a kind of a message board where people can post anything, like 8chan, right? It could be anything, and that was their source of information about the Russian collusion.
Wow.
For most of it, I mean, it's just so garbage. It's just garbage that they grabbed off and said, "Oh, look, it must be true." No, it must not be true. Your source is bad. So
that's pretty significant when that comes out, for sure, that it's all illegal. I mean, that's taken a lot of people down, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna see what's happening with Mr. Horowitz giving his report, and it's gonna take down James Comey and McCabe. So it looks like IG report corrupt James Comey conduct would be released tomorrow. I see them in a car here, right in a getaway, right? Is that
an OJ truck?
That's the OJ truck. That's it. They replaced. Actually, you can see OJ in behind him if you actually look.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
He's in the back seat. He's got OJ in the back seat.
Yeah, that was a 405 freeway going south, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I was in LA at the time when this was all going down.
And I was in Orange County, so yeah, he was headed my way from your way. It sounds like
Yeah.
from Brentwood, right?
Yep, exactly. I lived in Brentwood. I actually could walk to that street.
Really?
I often did actually. Um, it just was in the neighborhood. I used to do my exercise was jogging and walking in the area in the neighborhood. So I would walk past that area all the time. I ate at the same restaurant that they're talking about where they where that waiter was and where they
Yeah, where she went for dinner that night.
yeah.
Where Nicole Simpson went for dinner with her family, and yeah.
Yeah, I had eaten at that restaurant maybe once prior to that, and then it's not just wasn't my favorite. So many good restaurants in that area.
Oh, isn't there? That's what I miss the most. It's funny. I live in the Northwest in more of a rural area, so there's food is the least desirable thing here. And I'm meeting with my daughter. We're meeting in California in a few weeks, and she sent me a list of all the restaurants. She lives out of state as well, and she's in the Midwest. Of all the restaurants she wants to eat out while we're there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like our goal is we have like 10 places. I'm like, Brooke, I cannot eat that much food in a week. I would be sick to my stomach. She goes, yeah, but we have to. And some of them are not necessarily nice restaurants. They're just food that we can't get where I'm at or she's at, right? Or just whatever, just something that you grew up eating and you can't have it. So that's our goal.
Yeah, I like those kind of goals.
We're going to hit our favorite beaches, see our best friends, the best people, and then we're going to eat every day at different restaurants that we love.
You know what? But if I get back to LA, when I get back to LA, you know where I'm going to go?
Where?
I'm going to go to this, like, you look at it from the outside, you think it's like a hamburger stand. It's kind of like a old school, 50-year, been there for 50 years. But they have a lot of Mexican food. Right, and so burrito. So I'm going to have a carne asada burrito.
Oh, like a steak burrito, yes.
Yeah, that is. But I used to go there all the time to get them. They are literally 4 inches in diameter, filled just with carne asada. Right, and there's some salsa and some cheese thrown in, but it's just really a giant meat log.
Is that what you miss the most? Is Mexican food there?
Oh well, that's. I used to love to go to a particular sushi spot. That I'd love to go back to that sushi spot. I've got some favorites, but
I would think you would have great sushi where you are. I have a favorite sushi place in California. I'm going to as well. Yes.
Well, no, not that I can't get sushi here, but it's not really the best. No.
Really?
Yeah, it's. Like salmon is not going to be. It's all going to be frozen and brought here. So
okay.
There's obviously things that are fresh here, but it's just more about the infrastructure for moving the fish correctly, right? If it's frozen, it changes the texture of it, so it's not like it should be. Right, so it's I have sushi here and there, but it's not terrific, and there's some really terrific spots that I go into in West LA, Wilshire and Bundy. Used to be a really good spot over there. I was going to, actually I saw as it expanded. They were always, and what made their restaurant good, I mean extremely good, was that every morning they had a fish buyer that went down to the docks down in San Pedro.
Yeah.
And they bought the fish from the fishermen.
That are coming right off the boats, right?
Fresh. It was fresh
there.
fish. Yep. And now this was really a UCLA hangout for kids when it first opened up, right? But it really just became a phenomenal place. Busy all the time, and really, really good sushi. So,
wow.
I know we're kind of talking about food here. What am I looking here on this FBI raids Detroit area home of UAW president?
I just saw that. That just came up. I thought it was rather interesting. for a union guy to go down. It just seems like that's not very typical.
Yeah, rating a union guy is probably not typical.
It seems like they're always above the law to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, but when I was in my early 20s, I kind of was very political, and I wanted to really, stop this madness, and so I wanted to make a whole movement called Vote New, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that meant you vote for everyone in the next few election cycles, and in exchange everyone in government. And you do it by voting new. It means if you've been in office before, you don't vote for them. Doesn't matter how good they were in the past. Nope, just out of the hand, they're out of here. You don't vote for anyone who's an attorney, right? You don't vote for anyone who's in media, and you don't vote for anyone that's in unions. So
that's interesting, but that means that right now, there's most people in Congress I would never want to vote for, but I would want to vote for Trump again because I want him to finish.
Well, yeah,
House. How do you do that?
No, yeah, but at the time there was no Trump. That I would not say this at this time anymore as being as the way to go. So,
do you think Congress should have limits?
I am not really a fan of term limits because we have them. It's called the vote. I am in favor of real voting and real news, right? Because
right.
If you don't have the real news, and not the fake news, then you can't rely on any information. How are you able to choose from anyone, even if they're term limited out?
Right.
I'm not really. I'm not against lifetime lawmakers. Listen. If you're talking about the difference of a senator being in there for 2 terms, that's 12 years, right? And they vote. They should already be aging themselves out. If they're in for a third round, 18 years. It's just a pretty significant part. If they make it to a 4th term, they have a really long life. So they get termed out by their own lifespan. So
right.
I understand that that there's power structures that form, but it was designed for the voters to basically make the difference. So.
Yeah, this is my problem. Is I want to find a way, if there is such a thing, where they can be more transparent financially. Because I feel like how does Nancy Pelosi? I mean, I know that her husband supposedly is, an investor, but how do you go making from $200,000 a year to become worth, a couple $100 million? So it just feels like there's got to be some way to open that up.
Yeah, they owned the factories that were building the light bulbs that were CFL when they passed the law to make sure that no one could use incandescent light bulbs anymore. So everyone had to buy CSL. It was based upon their patent. That's how they made their money.
Ah.
So they basically forced everyone to have very bad lighting. Remember those CFLs when they first came out? They were horrible.
Right.
Yeah, but, I mean, you never had enough light. You were always, I said, this is stupid. Everyone now in darkness. It reminded me almost like candles. So so it's this type of corruption. I know when Newt Gingrich first took control of the House of Representatives. He wiped out all the corruption that was already sitting there. Now it's all come back, but number one, you weren't allowed to do insider trading. All the laws that they passed for the people applied to them too. Right. So these 2 things were wiped out when Gingrich was gone. Right. So.
Right. Yeah. So I would like to find a way to avoid that because I feel like they all become wealthy, corrupt, and they stay in office and they're all compromised. And so that's my biggest concern is how do we avoid that from happening again?
I think one of the ways to do this is the thing. Look at the things that they've done to destroy the original concept structure of how the government's supposed to work. Um, there should be no attorneys inside Congress, right? So
Right. Agreed.
because that's the judicial branch. Why are they mixing the legislative? It's supposed to be separate. Uh,
Right.
the it was supposed to be every 50,000 people was a representative, but they said, well, we all can't fit in the building. Then that's a stupid reason to. It's because your population grows. The reason is that you can't represent people effectively, unless you are able to talk to them. So you can get 50,000 people into a relatively, you know, a good representation. Even only 10% show up, you're getting a good handle on what those people that you're representing are concerned with, and you take those concerns to Congress. So
Okay.
I'd actually change it and lower the number from 50,000 to say 10,000 people, one representative for every 10,000 people.
And then how do you pay them? Do you pay them out of government funding?
Well, they're getting paid out of government funding now.
Right, but they're getting. But how do we? It doesn't think we would have bigger government, and we're trying to get smaller government, in my opinion.
I don't think it's a problem to fund the seat. So if someone's sitting there doing a job, that they should get paid. I don't think that's really a problem. The stipend, that kind of thing is is one of the things. It's like, well, the question: can you bring down the government to a point where it's really not necessary for there to be a full-time government? That you can actually run the government without there being legislators there 24/7. Well, they're not there anyway, but
Yeah, they're not there. They're out flying around on jets, and
yeah.
that's the hardest part is paying them, and then realistically, they have the best benefit package in the country, right? Probably in the world. And so they don't have to. They don't deal with they have lifetime pay, and they have great insurance,
Sure.
and they're not living a realistic
Well,
life. So I think it's difficult.
I don't think that there should be a lifetime pay, a
Right.
retirement plan. Yeah, of course, medical is fine, but if they're paid well, if they invest their money, they have their ability to do things. But I think it's really about getting the people to vote, right, and vote on their representative that's really close to them. And if we end up
Right.
with 50,000 representatives, so be it. That's fine. Let there be 50,000 representatives. Everyone can put in their articles, and we have computers, right? We've got internet. We can have people doing virtual votes, from their home office and where they live. They don't have to travel to Washington, right?
Right.
It could be there's some complexities that we have evolved to that we can't just ignore, right? There's the apparatuses that we've put into place, whether it is in any industry. You can say like electrical industry, plumbers. These are simple from a standpoint of when you're talking about your home plumber. You talk about a building. There's a lot of like a skyscraper or something like that. There's a lot of intricacy there and structure. In that, and I'm just giving this as an example, but this means that laws and things related to plumbing and electrical are more complicated. It takes time
Right.
to learn it. So that's why I don't believe in terming people out if they're good at what they're doing, right? They should be there, and they should. But if they're truly representing the people, and the people can keep tabs on them easily, because how easy is for us to track people in, say, the Speak Project? They're in the chat rooms and they see what's going on a daily basis. This type of environment for a representative of ours that are dealing in Congress, why can't it be that way?
Right. They would be in more constant contact than they are now.
Yeah,
For the most part, right?
and then people come up on the screen. I have something to say. If we had an audience right now of, let's say, 50,000 people, that's what's in the Constitution originally, 50,000 people,
Right.
one representative.
You don't have 50,000 followers, Dan. If you don't, I'm going to have to jump off the call.
I do have 50,000 followers, but it's just hidden. It's shadow.
Collectively.
It's
If you add up every day.
well, shadow banned, right? I mean, we're under
Yeah.
this shadow banning, and so we don't have the accurate total there. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, we just keep going and hope people will spread the links and make people, see what's going on here. And
It's funny because Payne talks about when he was in the RV days that he would jump on a call and there'd be 2,000 followers.
sure,
Now, we put a video out once or twice a day, and we'll be lucky, that it gets 1,000 views in the first few days.
Well,
so
yeah,
it's interesting.
yeah. When we were first doing this main tank, we had within a day 2,000 to 2,500, and sometimes
Did you really?
yeah, we had 4,000 to 5,000 on some of them. Some of them within 2 days. So do you
I
think?
had no idea.
Do you think that we don't actually have that now?
Wow. So are they miscounting it, or people
course.
really not seeing it?
They're miscounting it and they're hiding it. They're making it hard for people to find.
Okay.
Right?
Fair enough.
You have to go there. Right? So that's.
It has to be that's why people have to subscribe and hit the bell and do all of that, because I have a hard time finding tapes.
But even then, I've had people who have it, have notifications on and subscribe, and they don't get the notification.
Right.
Right.
Oh yeah, I've had hard time finding you guys at times, and I'm his co-host. I'm like, I don't know where they're at tonight. Are they in Fiji with Tui? Because I can't even find them. And so, yeah, I didn't know you had that many followers like the first few days, and now it's so much less considering you've been doing this for 6 months, close to 6 months.
Yeah. So we're hitting 6 months. The quality of the production is much higher. The topics are more interesting, and we have less followers.
Getting dumped off the call like 6 times in one phone call isn't exciting. It's not that great anymore. I thought it was pretty exciting days back in the day. You're gonna go look back and laugh at those times.
Yeah. Well, we're just gonna keep growing, right? Even though we don't know what the real numbers are, but we know that we're making an impact. And it doesn't matter what they're pushing out there, really. I mean, are they slowing us down? Yeah, they slow us down. But it doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't. There is karma to this.
Right. Exactly.
And the more that they push back, the more we will be leaped forward in the future.
Right. Yeah, and I think it is our followers. I think it is our the listeners that follow and share and talk, because I think with everything collapsing or on the verge of collapse as it is, like, where else do you go? Because there has to be some hope for what we're experiencing.
Right.
So Trump put out a tweet today, which I thought I'm going to share with you, or at least to read it to you. Our Federal Reserve. Oh, I'm hearing it twice. Hold on, I think I'm on 2 websites. Hold on.
No,
I
see,
hear
you're
you in the
multitasking.
background.
I thought you were a techno nerd. I mean, tech tard. That's
I am a tech tard. I would try to go onto your Facebook to see your thing, and then it was playing twice, so I could hear myself.
my Facebook.
So I had to get out of that.
On my
forgot.
Facebook, I don't do
Yeah.
Facebook.
Our Federal Reserve cannot mentally keep up with competition. Other countries, at the G7 in France, all other leaders were giddy about how low their interest rates have gone. Germany is actually getting paid to borrow money. 0 interest plus no clue fed. No clue feds. What do you think about us going down to 0% interest loans?
Well, I think that's actually the goal, right?
Right.
I think that when we get down to 0, the question is, why do we have a Fed? Why we're not borrowing money at that time? We're just creating it.
Right.
Which is what
and if we do,
it's where we should be. Now, it's the idea of paying, outwards, is kind of like a reverse flow of things. So even this is not, This is because there's nothing really behind it. So if you just change this to gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to come and get gold from us, and now we're going to tip you some more gold to take the gold from us. Would this work? Would they be doing that? No,
No.
they wouldn't do it. So when they're doing this with this virtual money, there's no backing to it. It just is going to, prolonging this a while until we can literally just absorb the Fed into the Treasury. And it's gonna be something that is going to be, it's going to hit a wall at some point where it's going to collapse, and the stock market is going to collapse, and Bitcoin is going to rise.
And gold will continue to rise.
And gold will continue to rise, and so
You think silver will do well as well?
sure, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Any commodity is going to do well because it's real, it exists. It's the virtual stuff that's going to be have an issue. With Bitcoin though, listen, I always knew it was made by the CIA. And it's not, and I never questioned that it's a cabal tool to destroy the world.
Oh.
All right.
I thought maybe that was Tank.
No,
No Tank.
wasn't Tank.
Oh,
Just let them know I'm on the broadcast. So I said in broadcast, typing, always comes up different.
yeah.
I'm in the broadcast. Let me get out of here. How do I get out of this box?
I should be on your screen. Don't you see me? That's what you should say then.
Yeah. Most of the people are. I'll tell them, hey, check out the broadcast. Yeah, okay. They never do.
I'll tell you, when you and Tank, so I really just started following Tank at the beginning of the year, to be honest. And what's interesting is how I found him is I just started following like the RV and the dinar and that whole thing. And I was probably watching like 25 different people and dwindling down, like this guy's full of baloney, this isn't real, and just really, really cutting it down. And I had put out this thing. It was like a one-page thing. I just became aware with Q. It was right at the beginning of the year, and I put out this one-page thing on Twitter, and it said, "Can we all just agree that we all want similar things like good food, good water?" It was almost verbatim what Tank was saying, but I'd never heard Tank speak ever. I had just started following him, and I posted this thing, and then the next day I heard Tank say almost exactly what I wrote. And I was with a friend of mine. I'm like, he's one of my people. He's one of me. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, he gets me. I get him. I'm gonna start following. That's how I stumbled upon you or Tank, and then you guys shortly before you guys started your show, like probably within a month before.
Wow.
Or two, both. So that's how I found Tank. I still have that post. I should show it. It's kind of funny, but yeah, that's how I found you all. But I've listened to every single show you've ever done.
Wow, well, that's excellent. Yeah, so
I can't tell you that at some point at the beginning when they were 3.5 hours long, that I did fall asleep at some point. I had to listen to them again the next day. But I've listened to every single show.
I'm going to give you a gold star.
How about some CryptoCoin instead?
That's okay.
I am like, no, I'm sure there are probably listeners on here at your show have done the same thing. I'm sure there are.
Yeah. It's at this point, it's crypto is a technology. I like to. I have a very good way of explaining this. Why it's not going away. And there's aspects of it that will go away. The phony baloney coins that are just air. It's just a bunch of talk, right? And they have nothing behind them.
It does seem like a lot of people are suddenly trying to bring up crypto coins. Different countries, different. China's trying to come up with their own. Obviously, Facebook has their. Everybody's trying to jump to crypto coin. Is that all the cabal? That's all the cabal stuff, though, right?
Well, it's that they don't have access. Well, just think about it. All right, this started in 2009. right?
After
So
the collapse, right?
in 2008, there is no access to the asset, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are they going to do? Well, we need to come up with a new money that's not backed by anything, Bitcoin. Now, how do we make it? How do we make it like gold? Well, you design it like gold. So it's designed like gold. Gold is a limited supply on Earth. Okay, well, there's a limited supply of Bitcoin. You know, the gold is hard to get, right? Because you've got to mine it, right? Okay, well, we'll mine this. We'll make it hard to get. And you know, it gets harder to find gold because once you've taken the the stuff off the ground that's at your feet, you got to dig, and then you got to like now use water. You got to dig deeper. Got to go deeper, find more. So they made it harder over time to find Bitcoin.
Okay.
Right. So they mirrored gold in Bitcoin. That's why there's this virtual idea of gold in Bitcoin. This is why there is value in Bitcoin. It's not. Yes, it's not an asset that we typically know of. It's a virtual asset. But you know, we've been working with virtual currency, right? That has no backing for since the '70s, right? So,
yeah, but isn't that created to cannibalize itself?
in what way is gold made to cannibalize
Not gold,
itself?
not gold.
I know,
I'm
but
talking about.
I said it on purpose. Why is gold? I said it was mirroring gold, right? So why is gold built to cannibalize itself? That's why I threw the question back at you. It's not.
No, gold
built,
isn't.
Bitcoin is not built to cannibalize itself. It's is to become a storehouse of wealth like gold. They're not making more of it, right? There's only a limited supply. If more you control, and it's still available in a marketplace, they can create a flow. Will it be used as a payment system? No.
It will not in the
It will,
future.
because it's too slow in payments of it. But could you transfer some and it take a week and you didn't care? Yeah, right. So that's fine.
Right.
It's
Here, I do have
storehouse of
friends
wealth.
that are in it, and it does take them long to transfer money, in and out. If they're purchasing or selling, the processing time is too long. So, yeah,
Well,
that doesn't
normally
work.
right now the processing time is a few minutes. It really shouldn't take longer than that. If you're in a service that someone's in the middle, they may hold it, and not let you have it because they're going to use it in the meantime.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. That's interesting.
So,
Yeah, I don't know much about crypto. I just know that, from what Tank says and what Kim says is that it hasn't been something they want to back because it wasn't gold backed or it wasn't a solid asset. But I don't know enough about it to speak on it, so I like learning about it.
Yeah. So if you had backing for, let's just say, there's crypto out there that's backed. It's dollar for dollar backed. So this one coin represents $1. I have the dollar in the bank. It sits there while this coin goes out and does whatever it's going to do over here.
Mm-hmm.
So it effectively is $1. So that backing of that coin is there. So if now this is going to does it rise and fall in price? No, because it's tied to the dollar. Dollar for dollar, there's a backing for it. So is that then crypto? Yes, because the idea of crypto is a blockchain and an encrypted system. So the reason why it's not going to go away is it is an evolution in accounting. It's about accounting and all the things that are bad about it. Getting information about us when what we're paying for things, what time, what's our IP address. All that stuff is there anyway on your bank account, on your debit card. It's more focused to your device now and what IP address you're at. you know. So are they collecting data on you? Yes, they are. But they're collecting data on you on all these other things. So all of the boogeyman talk about the crypto, you know, you have to basically, you know, really look at it from different angles and say, listen, this is a technology. It's just like the just-in-time accounting that came about in the 80s. JIT accounting, right? So this revolutionized commerce. You know, grocery stores did not have to do a physical count of what was on the shelf and when to place an order. So it was automated.
Right.
No one went and counted the stuff. And here in the Philippines, I go down, and every aisle I go in, there's people counting what's on the shelf.
Right.
And you don't have that going on. You have people stocking the shelf, right? But and sometimes they do a physical check, and then maybe they do that once a week. Maybe they do it once every 2 weeks, and they say, "Oh, our accounting is off. We're missing this many. Someone's, you know, stole some canned food and put it in their purse, you know, whatever."
Right.
So there is some reason why just-in-time accounting evolved. Well, that's exactly what we have with blockchain technology. You might not like the word crypto, right? Encryption, like it's death, is a death word. Okay, right? We want to call it secret coded language. I would. It's just something that is being the word came about in encryption technology, right? Is to keep something secret. You know, you're going to have this technology that has what is called the open ledger, meaning that everything is exposed if you have the keys to know what the transaction is. So privacy can be maintained, but of course, if they're tracking your IP address on this device and so on, but all of those things can also be handled. There's tumblers, for example. If you had Bitcoin and you wanted to throw it through a tumbler, right? You put your one Bitcoin in here, it goes out into 1,000 addresses, transfers to another 1,000 each, transfers back into some of the others, and then back, and it all ends up in a new wallet over here. So there's no way to know where the Bitcoin actually came from. You wouldn't be able to decipher it, right? Because it's not just your one transaction being tumbled. It's tumbled with a bunch of other things, and it gets mixed up. And so the complexity and the infinite combinations that start coming about after you go through the next generation. So these things are there that you can actually, you know, wipe out, you know, any footprint that there may be of where things came from.
Okay.
Right.
Got it.
So there's things that can be done. I mean, I do not think that, you know, that I think privacy is of great concern. It's just that people didn't understand that is a concern. I've known it was a concern.
I think we do now. I think since the Patriot Act, I've been aware of it, but I think it's huge. So do you think Trump is, when all this stuff, when he's finished cleaning the swamp, do you think he'll restore some of the old banking laws and or laws that we had before that weren't invading so much of our privacy?
I think that it's more about what will it look like, because as you know, one part of crypto is that you are your own bank. It's been that way for the last 6-7 years.
Yeah, but that's also going to be Kim's theory. But do you think,
I know,
aside from crypto, I'm just saying in life in general, do you think that we're going to have ability to protect our identities and have more privacy, or do you think it's going to continue to get? I mean, Google's taking everything. All our information is being stored. Do you think that it's going to get worse or better?
I think it will get better because the laws will be there for protecting people's privacy, and it won't be easy for them to basically get into that information. And it's not going to be by default, and you can't. And it's not going to be something that, like when I was developing my own social networking system, I was going to have people's information that's all sitting there and they own it, have them be able to make money off of it. They want to sell their data as to what they're doing, let them sell it.
Well, what's being sold, it's just not, we're just not getting the money. Facebook and Twitter and everybody else is selling our information, right?
Well, but if you're the one selling it, you can also then decide what is going to remain private to you.
Right.
Right? If you're not in the loop for decisions, everything is then exposed.
Right. Right. Exactly. And their financial systems, we don't have control over our current banking system, and they have the full control and we have none. Right.
Right. And I don't think that the banking system will exist as we know it. You know, I'm not saying there won't be things called banks.
Right.
But what is if you close your eyes and imagine what a bank is, right? What are the things that it's supposed to do for you?
It's supposed to collect or store your money.
All right, good.
Basically.
Okay, store your money. All right, fine. So let's just say what kind of money? Let's say it's gold. Well, is that a good place for them to store your gold?
I wouldn't personally.
Well,
no.
I mean, if you wanted to put things in a vault, and it was a big vault for safety, you know, safety deposit boxes and things like that, there's a use for banks, right? And and that's a service they can charge people for, right? But for holding your money, why would you need them? You know, for like digital money, right? Why would you need to have a bank? You don't need one. And so if you want to transfer physical things and have them stored in a bank, that would make sense.
Right. So if you had a bunch of silver or gold or whatever, you'd want to store it or have it in a safe place or safe or something to that effect. But really, essentially, banks have been there to store money and then lend us money.
There's the other one. So
store money and pay us very little, and then turn it back and lend it to us at a much greater rate. That's what I think banks are traditionally there for.
So now, what can they do now? If let's just say that they could still lend money, all right? But why would if I'm like in this social environment, right, and I wanted to crowdfund some project with 10,000 other people, all giving $100, do we expect to get that $100 back? Yes, we expect it back. Do we need to get a profit on it? Sure, why not? That can be all automated as part of a blockchain. The information stored, the contracts, everything is automated as just-in-time inventory.
So as Kim's funds come out of the Manna World Holding Trust, would that be the same way? I don't say Kim's funds, but funds to the people from Manna World. That would be a blockchain, right?
It could be. Why can't it be a virtual coin? What's the difference between the information sitting in the database that's called the blockchain and the database that's sitting on an Oracle database in a bank? They're just still computers. They're connected to the internet. They're storing ones and zeros. One's called the blockchain and one's called an Oracle database. And I'm not saying it is Oracle, but I don't actually know what the name of their databases are. But it's just a database. So what is the difference? You may not want to support.
It comes down to that for a lot of people. I think in today's world, that's probably a huge concern for people. I would imagine.
Sure.
With all that's going on.
And it exists right now where there are backed coins, and then there's a Ripple out there, which is actually meant as a replacement for Swift. It's a blockchain. It does not do mining. You can give up mining. Mining is not the necessary thing. It's a fun thing to do. With part of the crypto technology side of things. So there's many types of things that are out there for doing this accounting right? And being used as a technology. So there's no reason why there shouldn't be a backed by asset coin that is under the Manna World Holding Trust. I don't think there's any real issue with that. Now they may have an issue with it, but I think that it's like one database or another database, and it's just the connectability of that open ledger technology, how it's being developed. You have the brains of the world that are the techno nerds out there that are literally jumping in and developing new things that were never thought of, right? That are going to be miraculous in how they make things easier to do. Why would you want to turn away from it, right? It's well, no, we're only going to use the traditional bank. That doesn't make any sense. Banks are the problem in any case. But but it is very valid to say we don't want vapor coins.
Right. I don't think we want vapor anything. It has to do with money, right?
Yeah. So I'd rather have a backed coin. That's why I like this other project I'm working on. All right. That having it's a backed coin. Right, so this makes a lot of sense from that standpoint. We're dealing with something that is real, from being able to get to fiat in this case, right? And if it's getting to the U.S. dollar that's now backed by an asset, that's also fine, right? If that's but there's the roadmap, there's the bridge to get from here to there. This is being built, and it's not going to be turned off. Will Bitcoin slow down in growing in value? I don't think so. I think it's going to accelerate. Is it going to slow down in the number of people joining? No, I think it's going to accelerate. If it goes on for the next 20 years, it's going to level out at a certain point where the value is going to continue to grow, and the people that are sitting on it are going to. It's a digital asset. But as other cryptos take its place in regards to being used as a payment system, this other one I'm working with, it as a payment system actually gets faster the more people that join it.
Huh.
So it's actually the opposite of what's going on with Bitcoin. The more people that get into Bitcoin, the slower it will become. So that's why it'll never be used as a payment system, but just a storing like gold is. It's built like gold, and it's going to act like gold.
Right. Oh, good.
Yeah.
I want to share something with you about our show. Maybe we can go on to ask a couple questions. But I got this email from somebody a couple days ago. I'm not going to give names unless they want to be exposed. They can. It says, "Please pass along my regards to everyone and tell Tank how much I appreciate what he said in last night's show with Dan. What a healing balm after recent exposures of the unnecessary in the name of the trust." So she wanted to tell you guys, I guess you guys did a show I think it was just a few days ago, or last week on finance, on just the trust and money and where we are, and she liked it. So it was good.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm checking out our chat room here, saying hello. See whoever was in there, say hello to everybody. So if there's any questions, you can go ahead and put the Q. And then the question.
I'm going to see. I love hearing from them. So let's see what if we have anything they want to ask or know about. Well, I can give you all Tank secrets live on air, since he's not here. Whatever you guys want to know, ask me now. So you got 60 seconds. Go.
Oh, what? I have to think about what would be the secrets. Okay, what is? Okay, what?
Just kidding.
No. I want to know now. You put yourself out there, so now we.
Yeah. I can make up stuff like you can't imagine. So ask me anything. I can't tell you the answer will be honest, but you can ask me anything you want.
It's just like I'd be digging a big hole for Tank if I kept going with these things. Oh, I got a question. I got saved, reprieved by a question. Dan, how did cryptocurrency achieve all that astronomical value over time when it's backed by nada?
Good question.
I guess I kind of already explained that. It's not backed by nada. It's actually it's you could say, what is gold backed by? You have to ask that question. Considering it is virtual space. Listen,
gold is in its own right. It's an asset.
Well, okay, but you're saying that, right? But I used to play a game called World of Warcraft, right? Online, you're going around in this world, and you're doing things. You could mine. You could be a miner, right? Inside this virtual space, you could find gold. You could melt it down into things, and you could make items, and you could sell them in this virtual world. There was marketplaces. You could go and sell them, and you'd receive virtual money in this virtual space. But you could also go over to eBay and offer up those virtual items inside the virtual space for fiat money in this space.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? So what is the difference if you're going to be able to exchange things in this virtual world, right, for money in the fiat, or stay in that world and move the money around? Well, we're in this world, the virtual world, you're not being taxed, right? But when you're out here in the other world, you are being taxed. So when you convert.
Well, see, I have friends in Bitcoin, that were taxed, that got statements from IRS and they had to claim their income losses or whatever they were.
So they volunteered to pay.
Well, I don't know if anybody knows that they're volunteering to pay. Right?
Well, they don't know that they're volunteering to pay, but that's what they're doing. There is no connection to why the IRS just threw out some paperwork at people and people sent them money. That's what happened.
Well, but I think it's just so much bigger for people.
But there are people that challenged it, and it just goes away.
Yes, I agree with you. There are some, and there are some that just get so. Well, for example, let's just say a person has a W-2 position, a job, and they have tax debt. Unfortunately, that person that has a regular W-2 position, their job is going to receive a letter from the IRS or their state tax entity or both, saying, Joe Blow owes us money, and they're threatened by the IRS or the state entity that that they live in to pay that, so they just comply. And so, how does that person get out from under that?
Well, they have to understand what their position is within this system, right? If they are in that system and they're volunteering and for being positioned, and they want to claim that everything that they're dealing is a security, it's a securitized instrument, and they know and they want to agree to that, then that's what they're doing. If they know that it's a virtual money in the virtual world and they're playing in the virtual space, doing things from their energy, they can direct where they want to make their energy go.
Okay, but let's just say a normal person, a normal listener that's listening right now has a job, a regular job. They go 8 to 5 every day. They're trying to support their family. They're making, doesn't matter what you're making, $20 an hour, let's say. They're making $20 an hour. And they're doing their best to support, maybe even have 2 jobs, support their family. What happens when that person's job tells them, well, we received a letter from the IRS, and it says you owe, whatever, it doesn't matter how much they owe, but so we're going to take X percent of your paycheck and send it to them every time you get paid.
Well, you could fight it.
You could? Okay. How do you fight it? How do we do that?
Through education, right? And I don't want to go down the road of laying out all the steps and all the things,
right.
Because it's a whole other thing. I mean, you can join Pantera de Oro and change your standing in regards to your Cestui trust and act as the beneficiary and not the trustee. You're not the trustee. You just volunteer to be the trustee because you raise your hand and say, yeah, that's me. That's
so
that
could
ID.
You hold a regular job in that situation? Could you hold an 8 to 5 job?
Sure.
Oh, good. That's good to know. I think what you just said is very valuable to our listeners. I think that a lot of people struggle with that, whether it's child support or IRS or whatever.
Okay. Well, let me just say, on that, on those forms, for example, when you're filling out forms, there's always a change. Now, I haven't seen them in a long time, but just to give you an example, it would say there's a space for exemption, right? Exempt. And they'll say something, are you a full-time student? you know, yeah,
Right.
I'm a full time. And it'll say, did you owe any tax last year? Do you
Right.
expect to owe any tax this year? If those answers are no, I didn't owe last year, I don't expect to owe this year, you're exempt.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, that's
All
good
right.
to know.
But I don't know. This. It's been a long time since as I said, since I've seen forms like that. You know.
Right.
But
Yeah,
but
me
having
too.
have an understanding that you're always volunteering. You're always volunteering to pay. You're always stepping up and saying that I owe. Why? Because I'm the trustee. I'm the one responsible to pay in this virtual world of this birth certificate entity and the residency of that item on the shelf in the commerce, and you're volunteering to be the trustee when you're the all caps entity responsible party. You're saying I'm the trustee, I have to pay, but you're supposed to be the beneficiary. So if you change your standing with regard to these things, you can do it. But it's all about education. Is it fair? Because you
Is
don't
it easy?
understand.
No.
This from the perspective of the people who designed it. Of course, it's fair. All the information is there. Well, yes, it's a massive puzzle that took 100 years to put together, and is all designed to stop you from knowing what's going on. You might say that's
Right.
not fair from your perspective, but from their side, they're saying it's all legal, all done. Now, are they actually abiding by the law right now? And probably not. You know,
No.
so the whole system in this regard is breaking down. So if they're
Thank God.
if they're going to stop the income tax system, right? Because that's only on corporations, so and
Right.
that income tax is on that birth certificate entity, which you're the beneficiary, not the trustee. You should not. The trustee is who? Donald Trump.
Ah.
Whoever is the president at the time is ultimately the trustee.
Okay.
Now,
All right. Good to know.
yeah.
So do we have any more questions that on your chat room? I don't know if Tank's actually going to make it on, but we can see if we can do a couple more questions before.
Okay, let's see. There was a comment. It says, I wonder if money was created just to acquire all the assets of humans. Yes.
Yes.
That's
Because I think Tui lives in a place where he doesn't use money, right? I think that they trade or however he gets around money, which I think ultimately would be our goal.
Well,
wouldn't it?
let's look at money itself. Money is a great instrument to use if it actually represents a unit of work that you've performed, and you're using it to hold your value. Right? It's when you charge interest, it becomes something else. It is no longer money. Right? It becomes a drain upon you. It
Right.
becomes currency.
Okay.
Right? Because if you are the farmer working in the field, and you take your value that you've created, right, in all of this, 100 grains, 100 bushels of wheat, or whatever. You can't eat 100 bushels of wheat, right? But you need milk, and you need, other vegetables, right? So
Okay.
you're not. It's easier to exchange with coin. You give the wheat over, and you receive an amount of coin. Oh, I'm getting a feedback. Hello.
I'm here.
Oh, I just had feedback. I was hearing myself. So
Okay.
you give this amount of value, right, that of your work product, and you receive coin for it. So now you can use those coins to exchange for the other people who actually exchange their their work product for coin, and you're going coin to coin and settling with
Yeah,
transactions.
so you're actually exchanging a true, like a hard asset, and just using paper or coin to just exchange. But really, you have something.
It can be paper.
To
It
barter
doesn't
or
have
trade.
to it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be gold. It can be paper. It can be a written agreement of an exchange of value. That's okay. That money.
Do you think we can go back to that
Yeah,
on,
I
on
do.
a world level?
Oh, I do. I really think so. But to really disregard the virtual space, though, you can't do. Right?
No, I'm just saying,
Our
can we get
virtual
back to a place of living like Tui and living, or in Fiji, and not requiring money, and still being abundant and successful and all the things we need.
So, are we there where we can do that? No, I don't think that that we're there. Can we be there in 10 generations? Possibly.
You think it'll take that long, Dan?
I
10
do.
generations?
Well, you have
Look, I want to see it in my
sure.
lifetime. You have to live a really long time, but
Well, just think about this. If you're having people that are, let's say, if everyone was honest, it would be one generation, maybe two.
right.
But you have to basically retrain the population into integrity and honesty, where they don't want to take the shortcut of ripping off somebody. Because whenever you have that, so it's the same thing with interest. It becomes a drain upon you, because where does that interest come from? There is no work product already created it represents, right? It has to come from future work product that hasn't been created yet. So that's a drain upon your future. So right now, if you're going to do that in regards to theft, when people are stealing from you, you're not just going to, just because all the money in the world arrives at your doorstep doesn't mean you're going to, if you're a dishonest person, doesn't mean you're turn honest, right? You continue to be dishonest. So how long will it take for us to get to a point where people find it really ridiculous to lie?
Or
To steal.
I just think it out of the motion of their head that they have to store it or have reserves because it may not be there, or coming from a place of lack versus abundance. I think it's
Well, it
it's
is, but
a belief shift and an energy shift and a shift on all of us to realize that we can exist in a happier world with abundance and love, and money doesn't matter because we all have plenty of what we need. And I think when we have, which none of us have really ever had, right? It's never been easy for us in this world unless you're born into the elite or you want to be illegal to earn an honest living without putting in some hard work or stress or trading something in your life at that time with your family or whatever that may be.
right.
I don't think we've ever had that opportunity before.
Well, it's going to take time for us to get to a place where it's not like your automated response is to lie. Automated response is to rip off someone. I'm not talking about everyone in the world. You know, it's the 30% of the population, the 40% of the population that their automatic response is to do something to take that easy route, right? What they think is the easy route. So that's why I said 10 generations. Can it happen sooner? Of course it can. It could happen. It could happen in 3 generations. But it really just depends how well we actually educate people on what it is. So, you know, I've in dealing with the TBC coin and the Kringle Society and understanding, you know, that we had this mechanism of abundance. So to have this see what that looks like with people and how they react when it was growing so quickly. You know, they have an abundance of this. Now, it gave some perspective to things on how things work. I think that when you have a system that is based in abundance, a lot of things go towards the positive. The creation of products becomes more high quality. better service, because you're not. It's not about. It's not really. It's about attracting your the people to your business based upon the quality of what you're doing.
Right.
Right. Not about the coin, because you're getting so much in abundance. It doesn't become as important to you. Right. And then over time, if the abundance becomes so ridiculously high, but you're still always enough to do anything you wanted to do, it matters not. Right.
Well, I think if you're freed up as a human being and you're
it.
not stressed about money, I think when you're not worried about how you're going to pay rent or feed your children
Right.
or have enough to pay for daycare, I think when you have that peace of mind and you know you're coming from a place of abundance, that that it does shift. Like, you become a person that can express more love and have more time with your family and do the things that really matter. And then, like you said, if you have a business, you want to create a washer or dryer that's going to last for 20 years, not for 5, because it becomes not about the money. It becomes about how great of a product you're producing and a reputation, and how people, not having to make a fortune off them every time something breaks, right? If it's not about the money, hopefully we're going to produce better product in the end.
Right. And I think that's really what will happen, is we end up with producing better quality of everything, because that's what attracts your customers.
Right.
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 It's your loving personality and your quality of your product, right? It really attracts.
Exactly.
So
what do you really bring into the table at the end of the day,
so
right?
so I was in a mall here in Manila, and I just wandered, and I was killing some time waiting for a meeting to start. I was just looking around, seeing what's there. They had a bunch of housewares, like refrigerators and things like that. And I always find it remarkable that you have to spend $1,000 on a refrigerator here to get an ice maker, in your door, where you just push your glass in and the ice falls into your cup.
Mm-hmm.
Costs you $1,000 more here than you would in America. It's crazy. I mean, all $1,000 more to get like ice. I said, this is crazy. This is crazy. It's a hot country, right? So why
Right. So ice is a huge commodity.
Yeah, so
and do you guys can deliveries like, if you went on Amazon and ordered something, how long would it take you to get it?
Well, there's an Amazon type place here called Lazada. You can get things to your door. And you order anything, it'll come to your door. So in those things, that is replacing, say, the mail service that's in the Philippines, because you cannot rely on the mail service here, and you can't. I mean, it's like rolling the dice whether you'll actually get it or not. So it's
really okay.
Sure.
I know, like, when I order something online, it's if you live in Guam or it's not available in Alaska or other places, because the shipping is so expensive. So it would be interesting. So if I sent you a package, how long would it take to get there? Like, it would, unless it's a lot of money.
I'll give you an example. I ordered a laptop battery, right? Came in from China. So I paid for the priority, shipping. It's supposed to be within 2 weeks.
2 weeks is priority shipping?
Yeah. So this is coming from China.
Wow.
So it's going to get to the mail service here in the Philippines, and then it's going to go out for delivery, right? So after 2 months, I ordered another battery because I couldn't wait anymore. My laptop was dying, and so I needed to get one. And I ordered it for the same day delivery, or not same day, or the same
next day.
that like the next day type stuff from that service that's here, Lazada, that will buy things. Now, was it a little more expensive to buy the battery? Yes. Did I get the battery I wanted, which was a little bit higher milliamperes? Right, it was like 10% more was the one that I was coming from. No, but I needed the battery. So I got it within 3 days. I put it in my laptop. 2 months later, the original battery showed up.
2 months. So
That's 4 months altogether, right?
Oh my God! Did you send it back or keep it?
No, well, I couldn't send it back.
No.
I have an extra battery now for.
Yeah, that you can't ever have too many batteries for your phone I can't.
Well, this is a battery you have to dismantle your laptop to install. It's not pop in,
It's
pop
not
out.
like when you just pop in, right?
No. So
interesting. I complain when things take like, 4 or 5 days. I'm like, well, why isn't it here in 2 days? And
well,
so your priority is 2 weeks. That's funny.
well, the let's say there you could do a mail order business here in the Philippines. I looked into doing that actually because I actually had a mail order business in the U.S. for a number of years.
You weren't selling brides, were you?
Brides?
Mail order brides, just just checking.
The thing is, I actually thought about doing that now because
Really?
I could find some really good brides for some guys in the U.S. Right? Because you can find really good people, women here that would want to be mothers and take care of the household, and because that's what's normal here compared to
Right.
I couldn't find it in the U.S.
Right. No, I got it. Yeah. So it would be good business.
So
And
I thought,
God,
hey, I could get the people that were wealthy individuals that wanted to have a really good wife, even virgins that at age of 30 years old.
that's a whole different show. Yeah, I should have asked that question.
So you did it. You opened it up.
I know. I didn't mean it to go there, but I just thought, I was going to be funny. But
So literally, if you are, let's say the middle class Philippine family here, which, they're sending their daughter to school. If she ever gets a boyfriend, she will literally be disowned. That she'd have to go off to the province. She wouldn't be living in the big city anymore. She would. So she can't even have a boyfriend, even go out on dates. They're very protected.
yeah, it's a different. Yeah,
That's how my wife was. She was literally scheduled to marry a minister at the age of 30.
And you understand. You intervened.
I intervened at the age of 26. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Well, Dan, I think that it looks like I have a call to get on with Sid. She's emailing me, and Tank, I don't think is. Oh, there's my alarm. Tank is not going to jump on, evidently. So I'm hoping that he's not with Chewy.
another vacation day. That's what it is.
Yeah, he's gonna be penalized tomorrow heavily because he's not supposed to take vacation days. I don't really know where. I think he might be in a call, but I know his family got home late last night too, so I don't know what's going on. So hopefully he's whatever it is, he's enjoying himself. But
No
so
problem.
I guess we'll call it a day. I had to
good.
jump on a call with Sid, but yeah.
Thank you, Lisa, for jumping in here.
Thank you for the listeners and all that good stuff. And we will. I'm sure Tank will be back tomorrow, and if not, I'll send you a note.
All right. Well,
Okay.
you jump off. I'll go ahead. I'm just gonna wind up.
Oh yeah, perfect. I can end. I don't need to end my meeting. I can just.
You just drop off, and then it'll be okay.
Okay, I can do that. I think. I don't think I can actually, without cutting you off. Can I?
Oh, make me the host.
You are the host.
Then you can drop off.
Okay. And I stopped recording, so I think I can go. I think. All right.
You'll see.
It says end meeting, so I don't really know what that. If I end meeting, it's going to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Leave me.
Aha. I am now the host. Da, da, da. And I'm just here to say thank you for joining. We're just happy that our audience is growing. We know that it is. And that we are able to go ahead and help people know what to focus on the front lines. That's the reason we named this front lines, as we have these different places in which we're in this war and against the deep state cabal, Lumadonkeys, anyone out there that's trying to keep us from moving ahead and elevating spiritually, economically, to grow into what we're going to make this world. We're already started with made the first steps, and I welcome everyone, and please spread the link. Ask people to subscribe, and give positive thumbs ups, comments, and let's keep rolling this out. And on that note, and with my throat cracking here, I say goodbye.